The first mistake many men make when they want a woman to choose them is believing that they must compete harder for her attention. They send more messages, offer more compliments, become constantly available, and slowly begin organizing their entire emotional world around her response. But attention is not the same as value. When you desperately try to prove that you are worthy, you often communicate the opposite. You reveal that your sense of worth depends on whether another person approves of you. Real attraction begins with the life you build when nobody is watching. A man becomes more compelling when he has direction, standards, interests, discipline, and a purpose that does not disappear when romance enters the picture. This does not mean pretending to be unavailable or playing games. It means having a center of gravity that exists independently of another person's attention. Imagine two men approaching the same woman. One immediately makes her the most important person in his world. He changes his schedule for her, agrees with everything she says, constantly checks whether she is interested, and becomes anxious whenever she takes longer to respond. The other is interested, but he continues working toward his goals, spending time with friends, developing his skills, and maintaining his standards. He enjoys her company without becoming dependent upon it. The difference is not manipulation. It is self-possession. People are naturally drawn toward individuals who appear comfortable within themselves. When you possess genuine confidence, you do not need to announce it. Your behavior communicates it. You can express interest without begging for reassurance. You can accept disagreement without becoming defensive. You can receive rejection without collapsing. You can appreciate someone's beauty without placing them on a pedestal. This is why becoming valuable should never mean creating a fake personality designed to impress women. If you construct an identity only to attract someone, you will eventually become exhausted because you are performing rather than living. Instead, develop qualities that make your own life stronger. Competence, emotional stability, curiosity, courage, social intelligence, and a meaningful direction. The goal is not to make a woman believe that you are valuable. The goal is to become so grounded in your own life that her choice becomes an addition rather than your entire source of meaning. When you stop chasing validation and start developing yourself, your presence changes. You speak with greater calmness, make decisions with greater clarity, and approach relationships from desire rather than desperation. And that difference can transform how people experience you. Attraction is rarely created by endless attention alone. If you want someone to genuinely choose you, you must learn the difference between simply being present and creating an experience that has emotional depth. Many people believe that giving more attention automatically creates stronger attraction. They answer every message immediately, reveal everything about themselves too quickly, and constantly try to keep the conversation alive. Yet when there is no space for curiosity, discovery, or anticipation, the connection can become predictable. Emotional depth begins when you stop trying to impress and start trying to understand. Instead of treating every interaction as an opportunity to gain approval, pay attention to the person in front of you. Notice what excites her, what challenges her, what values she protects, and what experiences have shaped her perspective. Listen carefully rather than waiting for your opportunity to speak. Genuine attention can be more powerful than 100 rehearsed compliments. There is also a difference between mystery and dishonesty. You do not need to reveal your entire history during the first few conversations. Allow another person to discover different dimensions of your personality naturally. Let your interests, ambitions, humor, principles, and experiences emerge through time. Mystery becomes attractive when it comes from having a rich inner world, not from deliberately withholding information to create anxiety. Shared experiences can deepen attraction as well. A meaningful conversation, an unexpected adventure, learning something together, or even discussing ideas that challenge both people can create stronger emotional associations than routine texting. The objective is not to manufacture artificial excitement. It is to create opportunities for genuine connection. You should also avoid turning every interaction into an interview. Constantly asking questions because you believe you must keep her interested can make the relationship feel like an examination. Instead, contribute your own thoughts and stories. Have opinions. Express curiosity. Disagree respectfully when you see something differently. Emotional depth requires two people revealing themselves, not one person endlessly trying to extract information from the other. Most importantly, do not confuse intensity with intimacy. A relationship can feel intense because of jealousy, uncertainty, or constant emotional drama, but that does not necessarily mean it is meaningful. Real depth develops through trust, respect, vulnerability, consistency, and the gradual discovery of each other's character. When you become comfortable creating genuine connection rather than chasing immediate validation, your interactions become more natural. You stop performing for approval and start participating in a real relationship. She is then able to experience not simply your attention, but your personality, your perspective, your emotional presence, and the substance of the life you bring into the relationship. When a woman has many options, one of the most destructive reactions is to become obsessed with the competition. You begin wondering who else she is talking to, comparing yourself with other men, checking her behavior for hidden meanings, and trying to outperform people you have never even met. This mindset places you in a psychological trap because your attention moves away from your own character and becomes completely focused on winning someone else's approval. The stronger approach is to understand that attention cannot be demanded. You can express genuine interest, but you cannot control another person's choices. If she has other possibilities, that does not automatically reduce your value. Someone else's presence does not make you less capable, intelligent, interesting, or worthy. Your value should not rise and fall according to how much attention you receive. Competing for attention often produces desperate behavior. You may become excessively agreeable because you fear losing her. You may tolerate disrespect because you think setting boundaries will make her leave. You may constantly entertain her, send unnecessary messages, or try to prove that you are better than everyone around her. Eventually, the relationship stops being about connection and becomes a performance designed to prevent rejection. Instead, focus on what you control. Develop your abilities. Strengthen your social confidence. Take care of your appearance and health. Build meaningful friendships. Pursue work that challenges you. Develop interests that make you genuinely curious about the world. The more complete your life becomes, the less likely you are to become psychologically dependent on one person's attention. This does not mean acting cold or pretending you do not care. There is a major difference between emotional independence and emotional indifference. You can be warm, affectionate, interested, and expressive while still maintaining your own standards. If she is interested, allow the connection to grow naturally. If she becomes distant, do not immediately panic and chase harder. Give her the freedom to reveal what she actually wants. There is also dignity in recognizing when your interest is not being returned. Not every woman will choose you, and not every connection is supposed to become a relationship. Trying to force attraction usually creates resentment on both sides. Your goal should never be to defeat every possible competitor. Your goal should be to find a person whose interest is mutual. The moment you stop treating every other man as an enemy, your behavior changes. You become calmer because you no longer feel that every interaction is a contest. You listen better, communicate more naturally, and make decisions based on your own standards rather than fear. You are no longer asking, "How do I beat them?" You are asking the more important question, "Is this connection genuinely right for both of us?" Emotional control is one of the clearest signs of inner strength. When you become interested in someone, uncertainty can awaken powerful reactions. A delayed message suddenly feels like rejection. A change in her tone feels like a warning. Seeing her speak with another man creates jealousy. You begin creating stories in your mind before you know what is actually happening. If you allow every emotional reaction to control your behavior, you can destroy a promising connection before it has the chance to develop. The answer is not to become emotionless. Emotional control means experiencing your feelings without allowing them to dictate every decision. You can feel jealous without acting possessive. You can feel disappointed without becoming insulting. You can feel uncertain without demanding constant reassurance. The ability to pause between emotion and action gives you something extremely valuable: choice. This becomes especially important when you are afraid of losing someone. Fear often makes people behave in ways they would normally consider beneath them. They send repeated messages, demand explanations, become overly available, or suddenly withdraw in an attempt to punish the other person. These reactions may temporarily release tension, but they rarely create genuine attraction or trust. Instead, they communicate that your emotional stability depends on another person's behavior. A calmer approach begins with observation. When something triggers you, ask yourself what actually happened and what you are merely assuming. If she takes several hours to respond, the fact is simply that she has not responded yet. Everything beyond that: she has lost interest, she is talking to someone else, she is deliberately ignoring you, is interpretation. Learning to separate facts from stories can prevent countless unnecessary conflicts. Your standards matter as well. Emotional control does not mean tolerating disrespect. If someone repeatedly treats you poorly, you can communicate your boundary clearly and decide whether the relationship deserves your continued investment. The important difference is that you respond deliberately rather than explosively. Confidence also grows when you learn that rejection is survivable. If you believe losing one person's interest would destroy your sense of worth, you will naturally become anxious and controlling. But when you understand that your life remains meaningful regardless of another person's decision, you can approach relationships with greater freedom. You can say what you feel without fear. You can walk away when necessary. You can remain kind without becoming submissive. A woman does not need to feel that you are unaffected by everything. Authenticity is more attractive than pretending to be a stone. What creates strength is knowing how to carry emotion without making someone else responsible for managing it. You can care deeply while remaining grounded. You can desire connection without demanding possession. You can experience uncertainty without surrendering your judgment. That balance creates a presence that feels mature, secure, and difficult to manipulate. There is a strange paradox in human relationships. Sometimes people recognize the value of something more clearly when they have enough space to experience life without it. This does not mean you should deliberately ignore someone, disappear to create anxiety, or use silence as a weapon. Those tactics may produce temporary reactions, but they do not create the kind of connection that can survive over time. Healthy space works differently. It gives two people room to remain individuals while discovering whether their desire for one another is genuine. When you become deeply interested in a woman, the temptation is to increase your presence. You want to talk constantly, respond immediately, make plans repeatedly, and know what she is doing. You may believe that more attention will make the bond stronger. But excessive availability can sometimes remove the natural rhythm through which attraction develops. If every moment is filled with communication, there is little opportunity for either person to wonder, reflect, or miss the other. The answer is not to manufacture scarcity. Instead, build a life that naturally requires your attention. Continue pursuing your work, friendships, interests, responsibilities, and personal goals. If she messages you while you are genuinely occupied, you do not need to abandon everything simply to demonstrate interest. Respond when you reasonably can. If you have plans, keep them. If you need time for yourself, take it. Your independence should not be an act designed to make her chase you. It should be a natural consequence of having a meaningful life. This distinction matters because manipulation creates uncertainty, while independence creates respect. If you disappear for 3 days simply because you want her to worry about losing you, she may eventually recognize the strategy. But if you are genuinely engaged in your own world, there is nothing artificial about your absence. You are not trying to punish her. You are simply living. Space also allows people to reveal their own level of interest. When you stop carrying the entire interaction, you can observe whether she contributes. Does she initiate conversations? Does she make time for you? Does she remember things you tell her? Does she suggest meeting? Does she show curiosity about your life? These behaviors provide information that constant pursuit can hide. There is another important lesson here. Never use absence to excuse poor communication. If you need space, communicate honestly. If you are busy, say so. If you want to slow the pace of a relationship, express that respectfully. Mature relationships do not require endless guessing games. The purpose of space is not to create insecurity. It is to preserve individuality. A healthy relationship should allow both people to remain connected to their own worlds. You should be able to spend time with friends without feeling guilty. She should be able to pursue her interests without being questioned constantly. You should have goals that exist beyond the relationship, and she should have the same freedom. When you maintain this balance, something important happens inside you. You stop measuring your worth by how frequently someone contacts you. You stop panicking when communication becomes quieter. You become capable of enjoying closeness without becoming dependent upon constant reassurance. And when you meet again after having lived your separate lives, the interaction can carry greater freshness. You have experiences to share, thoughts to discuss, and new things to discover about one another. The relationship becomes a meeting of two complete individuals rather than an attempt by one person to fill every empty space in the other's life. The strongest form of presence is therefore not constant presence. It is meaningful presence. Be attentive when you are together. Be genuine when you communicate. Be affectionate when affection is appropriate, but also allow both people the freedom to breathe, grow, and maintain their identity. If the connection is real, healthy space will not destroy it. It will reveal whether both people actually want to keep choosing each other. The deepest shift happens when you stop thinking only about how to make someone choose you and begin asking whether you would choose them. This changes the entire psychology of attraction. If you believe another person's approval determines your worth, you approach relationships from a position of fear. You become focused on proving yourself, preventing rejection, and maintaining the other person's interest at any cost. But when you recognize that your choice matters equally, you begin approaching relationships with greater clarity, dignity, and self-respect. A relationship should never be a competition where one person is the prize and the other person is the applicant. Both people are evaluating whether the connection deserves their time, energy, trust, and vulnerability. She may have many options, but you also have the right to decide what kind of person belongs in your life. This does not mean pretending to have endless romantic choices. It means understanding that your standards are legitimate. Ask yourself what you actually value in a partner. Is it honesty, emotional maturity, loyalty, curiosity, kindness, ambition, respect, shared values? The answers matter because attraction alone cannot sustain a healthy relationship. Someone can be incredibly attractive and still be completely incompatible with your character, lifestyle, or long-term goals. This is where self-respect becomes more powerful than persuasion. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, you do not need to become more impressive to earn better treatment. You need to recognize the pattern and decide what you will accept. If someone consistently gives you mixed signals, you do not have to spend months decoding every message. You can communicate clearly, observe their actions, and make your own decision. Choosing yourself does not mean becoming arrogant. Arrogance says, I am better than everyone. Self-respect says, I know what I value and I will not abandon those values simply to be accepted. There is a major difference between the two. One seeks superiority, the other protects integrity. This perspective also makes rejection less frightening. If a woman decides that she does not want a relationship with you, it may hurt, but it does not have to become a judgment about your entire identity. Two people can simply be incompatible. Timing can be wrong. Values can differ. Attraction can be unequal. None of these realities means that one person is worthless. When you stop trying to control another person's decision, you become more honest in your interactions. You can express interest without exaggerating yourself. You can compliment without flattering excessively. You can communicate your intentions without pretending to be someone you are not. You can accept her freedom while protecting your own. There is also a quiet confidence that comes from knowing you can walk away from relationships that consistently diminish you. Walking away should not be used as a threat. It should be the natural consequence of having boundaries. If someone values you, their actions will increasingly demonstrate it. If they do not, you do not need endless arguments to convince them. The healthiest attraction develops when both people freely participate. She chooses you because she genuinely appreciates your character, presence, values, and compatibility. You choose her because you genuinely appreciate hers. Neither person is trapped, pressured, manipulated, or forced to remain. This mutual choice creates a stronger foundation than any strategy designed to make someone obsessed. Instead of asking, "What can I do so she never wants anyone else?" ask, "What kind of man do I want to become? And what kind of relationship deserves that man?" That question brings the focus back to the only territory you truly control: your own character. Develop yourself, maintain your standards, communicate honestly, give affection without desperation, respect her freedom, and protect your own. Let attraction develop naturally rather than trying to engineer every emotional response. The goal is not to convince someone that you are the only option in the world. The goal is to become someone whose presence is valuable while remaining discerning enough to recognize when another person is genuinely worthy of yours.